Hi, this is The Balanced Life, and today I'm going to be talking about the workarounds that I promised. If you didn't see the video yesterday, go back onto the Balanced Life channel about questioning your perceptions and thinking about some of the things, the way debt is treated differently. We just talked about credit cards, student loans, and business loans, and some of the different ways that they kind of steer us to question our perceptions and question the way things have been done. And today we're going to talk a little bit about some workarounds and some creativity in trying to get out of a difficult situation. So make sure that you've hit the subscribe and hit the bell so that you're notified when I put up new videos so you can find out more on these topics as they bring them up. I'll be talking a little bit this week about some budgeting considerations and some other topics. And if there's things that I may have touched on that you'd like to know more about, please put that down in the comments and I will make more videos on that. So, the workarounds. I ended the last video yesterday with that you don't have to be limited by what you have. And I mentioned my daughter who had silver that she used and cashed in to buy a set of Barbie things that she used to sell one so that she basically got her own for free. And so she got all her money back for her silver and got the toy that she wanted. Today I want to talk a little bit about how you can start to build and expand. And I'm going to jot myself a note right now. How you can build and expand when you're starting with basically nothing. To get more on this, I would strongly urge you to go and look at the video I did back, I believe it was in March, where I talked about my kids' chicken business, where we had literally no money. We were just coming out of a time when my husband and I, we had gone months without eating regular meals because we were so destitute after my husband's cancer battle and then joblessness and then a downturn in the economy where unemployment surged and I could not buy a job in fast food. I could not get a job anywhere, and both of our cars, the engines went in them. So we literally had no way to leave our property, and we live in a rural area. There was no Uber back then, and there was no access to public transportation whatsoever where we lived. So in that time, our kids decided that they wanted to try to get some money for themselves, and we researched a few different ideas. And what we ended up doing was they decided they wanted to buy some chickens to lay eggs. We live, like I said, in a rural area. So one thing we did have access to was people knowledgeable in raising chickens and the space to raise the chickens. And we live in our house. It's an old dirt basement, and the woman who lived here before actually had raised chickens, and so she had like a little wooden chicken nursery in the basement that we were able to use. So we took what we had and the things available to us, and we said, now how do we get the next thing? Well, first thing you've got to get is some chickens. You need to get bedding, you need to get chicken feed, you need to get a book on what to do with chickens and how to raise them right and what you need to do, in addition to knowledgeable people, because sometimes you can't ask questions. And our local grain elevator sells chickens at certain times each year in the spring. And so my kids knew that was coming up. And so we got the flyer to find out how much it would cost per bird and how much we would need for bedding and chicken wire fence. Our neighbor let us use one of his small metal buildings that he had to house the chickens once they were full grown. When they were chicks, they were in our basement. And we had to buy the heat lights, and we had to buy the water things, and we had to buy the roost. And so there was a lot of money was going to go into it. And the initial cost was going to be like $100. And I mean, I'm talking 4 kids. I think the oldest at the time might have been 9 or 10, which made the youngest like kindergarten age. So what they did is together between all of them, they had something like $20 or $30. And you can hear the rest of the story on the video, but they basically took that money and invested it in things that would get them more money. And they built up and built up. And they ended up having like 6 or 7 birds at first. And then they got 40 birds, and then they got 70 birds. The next thing, so that was really cool, but you're like, great, I can't raise chickens. I want to show you this newspaper. I know it's backwards because I'm recording on my phone, but it's called the Toledo Streets newspaper. And in Toledo, Ohio, what they do is and they may do this in other cities. I just know that they do it in Toledo, Ohio, and I think it's phenomenal. These newspapers are sold for $1, suggest a donation. They are sold by homeless people, and they have to agree to certain criteria, and they buy these for a smaller amount, like they get a certain number of them for amount of money that they provide, and then they get all the profit after selling their paper. What I love about that is you're not panhandling, you're empowering. And it's actually a good paper. I mean, there's reasonable articles in here. There's advertising. There's all of it. It's not that it's just some little flyer. It's I don't even know how many pages this is. 20 pages long. And it's got, crosswords, and it's got information about sometimes organizations that like homeless, drug addiction, foster care, but also things about business and about community and things that they're doing around town. And it's a positive, and it's an empowering. And so I bring this up because the quote that I said yesterday, if you want to do something, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. I've told my girls their whole life, don't tell me you can't, show me how you can. And I think that's something that you should probably stick in your head and ask yourself every time you see can't. Because there were so many times over my life where I have come up against something where it was, I can't. And I can't do this. I can't pay this. I can't have that. And when you say can't, your brain goes, okay, we can't, and it stops. But if you say, all right, I'm going to do this, how can I make this work? You would be amazed with what you come up with. And in fact, I learned this, I didn't learn it necessarily, but it like stuck into my head. It was back in like 2002. I heard Joyce Meyer talk about if you wanted a fudge sundae, how if you think about something long enough, you'll decide you have to have it, and you will find a way to get it. So if you're on a diet and you're like, there's no way I'm not going to eat a fudge sundae, and you think about something else, you won't eat the fudge sundae. But if you're like, you know what, a fudge sundae sounds good, and some of you may be thinking that right now, yeah, it does. And then you start thinking, who do I know that has fudge sundaes? Will McDonald's ice cream machine be working if I go there right now? Could I go to the grocery store? Do I like? And you think through the whole process. And if you really decide you want a fudge sundae, you will get obsessed with that, and you will figure out a way, a reason, a whatever to get that fudge sundae. And if it's too late to get it tonight, that is going to be the thing you do in the morning. You will be committed to it. And if you can have that level of commitment to find a workaround, you can do anything. Now, I want to tell you about the economic ninja, also known as the real estate ninja. I will link to his one of his videos in the description below, because he is teaching a course for sale, but he has lots of free videos. You don't have to buy anything. I'm just telling you, I'm giving you information. I'm not doing an endorsement. I don't get any money when he sells his course. I just think it's great. And he has mentioned this on videos, so I don't feel like I'm divulging anything proprietary, because I did buy his course, and I really like it. But he talks about starting at the very beginning, and with him, he's like, have a garage sale. So he starts with the idea of a garage sale. Now, immediately you say, well, I can't. You know what? I can't either, because where I live, literally nobody comes on my road. There are 3 of us here. Nobody has ever come to my garage sale. I've tried a number of times, and there's always a garage sale up in town about 10 minutes from here. And I was going to do my yard sale, like take my stuff up to that one. It's a big community one. You can rent a space and everybody comes. And but I didn't find out about it until 2 days before the garage sale was happening. So I couldn't sign up, and I had to help my daughter move and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so I couldn't. So I've decided a workaround. I've decided a way to do a garage sale, because that's the thing he's teaching first. And I have things that I would like to try to sell. And so I have started to say, okay, I am going to do this, and I do want this to be successful. So what do I have to do differently in order to make this happen? Who do I know that maybe I could rent their yard and do the garage sale? Who do I have that could man the garage sale for me somewhere while I bring stuff down to that place? Like one of my kids, offer them money or something. What can I do to make this happen and make it successful? As far as it depends on me. So just look at trying to find a way. Another example. This one is great. My husband wanted me to share this. I heard this on a YouTube short, actually. And if you watch this video and it's your story, I'm really sorry for stealing it. You popped up in my feed and I saw it. I thought it was great and I don't know how to go back and find it. But he was saying that in his neighborhood, there was a high school student who wanted to earn money. And so he went around to his neighbors and he said on the night before garbage day, I will take your trash cans to the road for you. And then when I get home from school on garbage day, I will put your trash cans back for you. And I will charge $2 each week to do that. Well, most people were like, hey, that is awesome. I don't have to remember. It's just a little tedious thing and it's only $2. This kid made an insane amount of money. If you just think about in your neighborhood, I'm thinking about where one of my daughters lives. I can think offhand she's got like 15, 20 houses just up and down the one part of like her block. So if that kid got even half of those, say like 10 people, that's $20 a week. That's $80 a month just to go whoop, whoop. And that's something really ingenious. And that's what I want you to think about. You may not be able to drag trash cans out and back or have a garage sale, but what could you do to get the first little bit of cash that you need in order to move toward your goals, in order to implement some of those things from the richest man in Babylon that I told you about, the 70-20-10? What could you do to try to dig yourself out or to advance yourself? I was talking with my youngest daughter this past weekend about that, about things that she could do, and we were brainstorming things that she could invest in because her 10% for investing is minimal. Working entry-level jobs, even though it's full-time. If you think about if somebody makes $2,000 a month and they have $200, well, it's not like they're going to invest in real estate. So like, what kind of things, what are your goals? What are you trying to get to? So start to find your workaround. Start to think of how you can do things instead of saying why you can't. And put some of your stories in the comments below and share with us. Share this with other people. I'd love to get feedback, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.